Hi, this is Mike Morales. You are watching Sipping Off the Cuff on tequilaaficionado.com. That's part of Tequila Aficionado Media. And like I said, I'm Mike here in San Antonio, and that person over there.
Rick Levy in San Diego.
Yep, Rick is in San Diego, Southern California. He's helping us out with a lot of we're inundated this year with so many tequilas that want to come on Sipping Off the Cuff. And Rick, I had to twist his arm, but he volunteered, and we're having a great time. So it gives us a nice triad, of tasters for these tequilas. And tonight, Rick, we got something we just got a little bit ago. We got the wild thing. Mira esto. Look at that. Cosa Salvaje. That translates to wild thing. And we've been having if you've been following us at all, we've been having a lot of fun with the bottle on Instagram, and you can find them on Instagram, I believe also on Facebook. We don't know a whole lot about it. As a matter of fact, Rick, we looked at the gnome number, and currently on the last gnome list, which was late June, it still is not listed, which is not uncommon.
Yeah, I combed through the last several months and, searched various resources. And to the best of my knowledge, this hasn't been on, one of the CRT's Marca lists yet. The CRT is the Tequila Regulatory Council for Mexico. So all tequilas that are going to be exported have to be registered with them.
Yep. Yeah, there is a list that comes out also, and that's what you were referring to, the gnome list, which up until recently we were republishing the gnome list, but that's a whole other story. They kind of enacted a for the gnome list, they enacted a privacy measure. And so in the past, you could get who the owners were, the names of the tequila, the names of the contact person at the distillery. I think as of last year somewhere, they stopped doing that. And so, we're lucky. All you're getting is the number, the name of the tequilas that are produced in that distillery, and the address of the distillery or the office, and that's it. So
yeah, there used to be a lot of brand contacts in there anymore.
So when you did your research, you had to really do some digging, because the CRT wasn't going to help us.
Yeah, and especially since it's a new brand too. There's not a whole lot out there on it yet. But I can tell you what I dug up.
Yeah, please give me some.
Right.
I know that we were contacted by the brand owner is a woman. Her name is Elle France. That's really her name. I think I found her LinkedIn. You said you have a business card of hers, and what does she do, Rick? What exactly? What's her tequila background, or does she have any?
Well, she seems to be new to the business. Let me bring up my notes. Okay, so she's the CEO and founder for the brand, but she has been working as a matchmaker and dating agent here in Southern California. And she's written various advice columns, and she's appeared as a local TV personality commenting on matchmaking and dating.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so,
Check. Oh, there she is. That's Elle. Yeah.
yeah, he's a little blued out, but
Hey, well,
a little bit there.
this is the magic of streaming. The magic of
Yeah.
streaming.
Yeah, my slideshow didn't work out so great last time. The pictures came through and nothing else.
Yeah, well, that's okay, because we're trying to give as much information as we can. You'll notice on the picture this is women oriented. I guess that's what she's kind of shooting for. And if you look inside, if you can see clearly in there through the writing, there's a gal in a negligee. At least that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and
Oh, you got a brunette. I got a blonde.
yeah, so she has three different girls that she's featuring on the bottles, and when you turn them around, yeah, you get the
turn
back
it around, you get her tushy. So and all the pertinent information. Yeah,
I'm not sure what you can see there.
Those are the three gals. Yeah, the artwork's beautiful. I'll have to say, the script is beautiful. Just for the sake of transparency, this is a 40 alcohol ABV, 80 proof, and the gnome on it is what did we find? Oh, 1477.
1477.
So what's up with 1477? Who are they, and what's up with them?
All right, so 1477 is Tequilero Puerta de Hierro.
Yep, Iron Door.
Yeah, Iron Door. It was established in 2000, so it's fairly new. It's in El Arenal, Jalisco.
Okay.
It's about 27 miles outside of the city of Tequila. It has an elevation of a little over 1,300 meters, 4,400 feet, so that would be considered lowlands.
Yep, I think so. Well, El Arenal is. I think that they're calling that highlands, but I know some tequilas from that area have a distinct flavor profile, so it's a good area for it.
Well, and the people who run the distillery, Leticia Hermosillo Revelero and Gildardo Partida Melendrez. Gildardo is a third-generation agavero.
Oh, good.
And so
okay.
I believe, they own and operate a number of fields
right.
Around the distillery. And so their NOM produces, they say they produce about 90,000 liters per month of tequila at 55% alcohol by volume. So that's before it gets diluted for bottling.
When I took a look at the gnome list, I understood just looking at some of the names that they sounded very female skewed or female oriented. And there aren't that many that come out of there. So, by the way, just so you know, also I reached out to Leticia over Facebook. I'm hoping that they do friend me up. I know Gildardo has, and his son. Actually, I was friended up with his son prior to that, because I would, I'd like to maybe interview her for our Women in Tequila series. So it'd be kind of fun to find out how she's the plant manager, right? I mean, she's the contact person from what I remember.
Well, it's her name that is on all of the brands that they produce.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, she is really, she's really the face of the exported juice, I would imagine.
And it sounds like they're very hands-on. So I hope look out for that, because hopefully we'll be able to get her to answer our handful of questions.
Yeah. Their primary tequila that they produce there is Cava de Oro.
And I've seen it. I may have even tasted it once or twice, but we've not had it on our show, so we're hoping that maybe sooner than later we'll be able to do that as well.
They actually have they have a number of other brands that they're producing as well. One of the ones that came up several times was Adrenalina.
Wow.
And that actually gets canned, and so I'm not sure if it's a pre-mixed drink.
Oh, it could be.
That's what I would expect, but it's in like a beer can or a soda can.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah.
It's an energy drink.
But they produce both mixto and puro there for both domestic and export. I'm not sure if they're exporting any of their mixtos, but they are exporting a number of their 100% agave tequilas.
Do you have any pictures of the agave that they have? I think they use oil.
Right. Yes, Mike. Okay. Well, first, here is
that's Leticia.
Leticia.
She's sitting on a barrel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's in there.
She looks like she's having fun,
I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. And so they're right on the outskirts of Jalisco, almost at Nayarit.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you can see that. And then that is
Oh,
the outside
nice
of
distillery.
the Fabrica.
Yeah.
Come on. All right.
There you go. Oh,
So
so they do
there's
have
some
the stone
agave
ovens.
waiting to get baked.
Yeah.
Now, I was reading for some of their tequilas at this distillery,
Mm-hmm.
it might be one of their higher end versions in their Cava de Oro line.
Some of their flagship brands
I
probably.
think they're doing a mix of Highland and Lowland
Oh,
agave,
could be. Could be.
and so I thought that was interesting.
Well, now that
Some of
you
these here, some of these in this picture particularly look like they could be Highlands
they're big, aren't they?
agaves.
There's some
Yeah.
those are some
But
big
then there are other
penis.
pictures I saw as well that where they were smaller. They seemed more typical of the lowland agaves.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to try this sucker. Cause
Right.
yeah, I think now you look at the packaging, and I got to tell you right now, Rick, I think as unique as this packaging is, I mean, there's no, uh, they're not pretending to be anything but what they are. So I would like to nominate it just for the artwork alone, as for packaging, because I really like the artwork. I mean, it's really well done. It photographs well. If you've seen any of our pictures on Instagram, you can tell that that uh, they put a lot of thought into the into the at least into the pictures, into the labeling.
Yeah. You can tell somebody's really trying to work hard on the brand.
Right, right, and it sounds like from what you told me about El France and about the whole, the background of the distillery. It really, it's just consistent. They're at least their message is consistent. That it seems to be geared toward women. I mean, I would imagine that's what they're doing. You are going to pour
Yeah,
yours.
we talked about their bottle packaging.
Right.
But then as I was going through what they have for their social media marketing, it really seems to be geared toward, sexy ladies having a good time.
Hey, sexy ladies got to have fun, you know. But now you poured yours in a Riedel for tonight. I'm going to use a Glencairn, and we're hoping to get Rick some Glencairn glassware from those folks, so you can kind of help yourself out to what the differences of the flavor profile are going to be. I am going to. Okay, now I get. It's like almost at the very top, unless it opens up a little bit. I get a little bit of yeast. Are you getting that at all?
I think so. When I first pour it, and especially when I first opened the bottle and did my first pour, I was getting a lot of different things that weren't necessarily pleasant.
Oh, okay. Well,
And what they say they do with this is they say they're bottling it right out of the still, which I think there might be taking some liberty there, because out of the still it would be like 55%, and they have to dilute it to 40. But I think essentially what they're saying is that they're not letting it sit around in a stainless tank for a while before they bottle it. And that could mean that there might be some methanols that still need to come off and out of the bottle
yeah.
before.
I think the recommendation would be if you agree with me, because when it got delivered to us here in Texas, we've had a sweltering summer, as most Texans will tell you, and I'll literally when we get deliveries, I'll let the bottles sit for a day before I even open them. I'll let it sit at room temp, and even after a day, it's still you're going to get a lot of that accumulated fumes, for lack of another word, and that's why I really enjoy some of the glassware that we have, or even the aerator. Just to get rid of that extra layer of stuff, even evaporation, if for anything else.
Well, and when you open a bottle of tequila, it's not like wine where you have to keep the bottle sealed perfectly tight,
Yeah.
and or else things will happen to it in the bottle. But what will happen with tequila is that when you do open the bottle for the first time, an oxidation process will start. And then, that will continue to a certain point where it levels off. And then, your tequila is basically shelf stable for several years as long as you keep it sealed well.
Yep.
But I think with this, if you get it, it would be good to just, open up that bottle, let it be open for a few minutes, and then you could seal it back up.
Yeah, and actually
later, and you can
stir
really
your glass a little bit too. If you're using even a Riedel, you'll discover sometimes with a Riedel, not everything opens up immediately. It really needs to be stirred a little bit. So now that I've got that layer of yeast out of the way, because it's opened up enough for me, it's rather sweet on the nose.
Yeah. And I'm getting some herbal and citrus,
Yeah,
like maybe a little grapefruit.
that's exactly what it is. It's not so sweet that it's like an orange not even a lime zest, but I think you're right. It's almost sweet to the point of just slight bitterness at the end, and that's to me that's grapefruit. Because I'm not a big grapefruit guy. My mother was, but I couldn't stand grapefruit. Ugh.
I put it in my margarita mix.
Do you really? Well, well, if your margarita mix is too sweet, a grapefruit is awesome. Orange
Yeah,
would just make
I
it,
like a tart mix.
yeah. See, an orange would make it too sweet sometimes, or orange liqueur. So some people balance it the other direction, and a grapefruit would be great with that. Well, let's taste it. Now, the color is beautiful, though. I mean, it's really
Crystal clear.
pristine. I get some baked agave, but I also get some fresh agave also. It's really interesting. The first thing I got on my palate was what felt like baked agave, and then on the finish, as I was swallowing, I got more of the fresh. It's odd.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird combo because I've never had it that way before. You either get one or the other, and rarely both in that
Well,
sequence.
it comes in almost a little buttery, and then it gets a little bit more, raw and peppery.
Yeah, but it doesn't explode like what we had last time with the white pepper that we got from Artenome. That one just exploded in the middle in mid palate, just boom. And you're not getting that here. I like the fact, as far as we know, the distillery does not have a diffuser. The amount of tequila they produce is rather, I guess, in keeping with the size of the distillery. So they're not overproducing, which is nice.
Yeah, they're not big enough to have a diffuser. I haven't found anything to indicate that they do.
Yeah.
Or they don't have continuous or column distillation either. They have stainless steel pots.
So this is really the hand of the distiller, is what we're tasting right now, which is really nice. This is a real tequila. It may be geared or marketed toward women, but it's not. It hasn't been dumbed down, okay, like we see in some other mass-produced tequilas that are dumbed down for the female population.
Are you getting any minerals or metallics?
I'm getting minerals. I'm not getting any metallics. I didn't get any of those. What I get is that sweetness, and I know you and I talked about this in the past, that maybe they're doing something with the heads or the tails when they distill again, that is giving it. It's not funky. It's not a funkiness like we've had in some other tequilas, or even I had in some mezcals, but it's more on the sweet side. Like grapefruit sweet or.
Well, personally, I think I think there's a quality to the sweetness which isn't necessarily what I'm used to getting off of something that has come out of the still.
Well,
So I think there might be something added after. Even in the finish, I'm feeling like a little bit of a syrupy coating on my palate
Okay.
in the finish,
Okay.
and by the rules of the CRT, brands are allowed to add up to 1% of other and still have it be considered 100% agave tequila. And what some brands have done is, they might put in a little bit of agave nectar after distillation.
Well, I don't know if that's the case. I know that there's a certain amount of sweetness. Having had, what I'll consider enhanced sweetened tequilas, I'm not, there was no POS with this. If there was some sort of agave syrup added to it, we've had brands where they actually have to say that. They say that on the label. They're very transparent about it. And normally, like one I can think of, for instance, in their Blanco, they actually say that, but the ABV is lower. It's between 36 and 38. But they'll say that on the label. So I think by law they have to actually say it. But this is at a full 80 proof. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think it's enhanced. I think that they did something. They're maybe doing something to it, and I'm not exactly sure what it is.
So you think maybe there's some undistilled or unfermented sugars,
I think,
or undistilled sugars that are.
I don't know. They're blending this. This is not all from the agave. I think what we're getting is coming from distillation and or fermentation. That's my opinion. And yeah, maybe it has a little bit of the glycerin, which is allowed. You're allowed to have that. But it's not offensive. Alex and I've had tequilas that have been way over the top enhanced. Primarily in the añejo and extra añejo categories. I don't.
Where you tend to expect some sweetness. You don't usually expect sweetness in the Blanco.
No, and not like this. But I will tell you that the flavor profile reminds me of a hair over the top, more of the Tres Mujeres distillery, because they have a distinctive stamp on a lot of their tequilas. Tres Mujeres makes Adán y Eva, a few others, and sometimes you can pick that out.
Now, did Cava de Oro originally come out of that distillery?
No, I'm not sure what the background is with Cava de Oro. I have no idea. In fact, I can tell you for certain this is the first full brand I've had from this distillery, because none of the names of the brands I recognize. This is the first one that I can say truthfully I've had from this distillery. Although Cava de Oro, I have seen at other shows, but I haven't spent enough time with it to know. But I'm going to ask you, in your opinion.
Yeah, right off the top, the data I have handy here, I'm not seeing that. I thought that maybe in the research I was doing, I thought I might have seen something like that, but I can't corroborate that with anything right now.
Yeah.
But what that had got me thinking of is that maybe Letitia had started a brand somewhere else, and then then got situated in the NOM where she's at now.
Not sure. I mean, it'd be an interesting question to ask her. Like I said, I'm hoping to hear back from her shortly over Facebook and see if we.
Yeah, I'd love to see one of your Tequila Boss Lady pieces on her.
Yeah, me too. I think she looks like she has a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
And her husband sounds like he's a grower / master distiller. I think this is the hand of, and I'm calling her. I'm calling him her husband. I'm not sure if that's the case because they have separate surnames, but I like it. I'm not put off by it. If it's enhanced, I'd like to know. I'd like to know what it's enhanced with. Did they do something with the heads or the tails? Is it something after distillation? What are they doing that's giving it this unique flavor profile? But I like it. It's not, I don't think it's offensive. I've had some terrible stuff that overly sweetened and I've had it sweetened with agave nectar, but at lower ABVs because that was the law. You had to do it in order to get it into the U.S.
Well, I think the flavor profile is in keeping with the brand they appear to be trying to create. Mm-hmm. And, it could be that, that flavor profile will do better with that target market.
There is a residue on the palate. And this is like my second full sip. And it does linger. It lingers like an añejo. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
I will say that it's.
And I'll say this is not for me.
Okay.
This is not something I would seek out. But that's not to say that the flavor profile doesn't fit a market waiting to be served.
Yeah. The one thing the one thing we can agree on is that it hasn't been. It's not a tequila that's been dumbed down by use of column stills or diffusers.
Yeah. You can definitely still find the agave in
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's
so important.
It's got and it does have that agave.
It gives you the agave experience.
Right. And maybe it's a great gateway tequila for people who want to experiment with blancos and are not ready to go into a tequila from a Matitan or something with a real heavy punch or at a higher ABV. I think she's got something. I will say that it's well worth looking for. And we'll take a cue from them. We'll say great gateway tequila. If you want to introduce your girlfriend or your girlfriends to this, as a gateway to what is possible, either from this distillery or from tequila in general, then yeah, it's well worth looking for. I want to nominate it at least for brand of promise in the packaging part of it because I really like what they're doing. I think it's really attractive. The bottle is somewhat, I don't know if you can tell, but the bottle is somewhat curved. And it almost feels like you can stick it in your back pocket, but you don't really want to. But well worth looking for. I think Cosa Salvaje, it's a wild thing, and I think it hopefully it'll do well on the market. Make a great gift, make a great gateway tequila. But if you're more of a traditionalist or somebody that leans toward the other direction, you might be put off by this. There's something in it. We're not sure what it is, whether it's an additive or something they're doing in distillation or fermentation afterwards or prior to. But I think as a gateway tequila, not bad. Let
it open up.
Yeah, definitely. Let it open up. That's our take on Cosa Salvaje. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio.
Rick Levy in San Diego.
And again, you've been watching Sipping Off the Cuff here on Tequila Aficionado, part of Tequila Aficionado Media. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. Go to that red button. If you like, pushing red buttons, you'll be happy. Press the red button and you'll be happy forever, okay? And as Alex likes to say, always sip wisely.